welcome.
Hello.
Just going to wait a few more minutes to get everybody in here.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Need a couple minutes to get myself set up. Jade, how did you hear about the class?
It could be that there's a man in my town that collects interesting workshops and things that are happening. He sends a newsletter out a couple times a month.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and so I'm very interested in breathing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Took a class last year, so this one I was like, very cool. Thank you for offering it.
Wonderful. Thanks for being here. Excited to have more people this year. I've since COVID hit, my sister Mindy and I, who's on here, we've been doing it with a couple other people every Wednesday at 11, practicing for a couple of years now. So I've been really inspired come the beginning of this year to just put this out there more, because we all need as many tools as we can get to be happy and healthy in the world right now. So it's wonderful to have more people interested. Welcome, Anna. Just going to give a few more minutes for everybody to join. And if you want to, you can type in the chat where you're from, or just let us know where you're tuning in from. Stephanie, where are you tuning in from?
Flamingo Heights, Flamingo Heights, Yucca Valley.
Nice. Stephanie's in our local town here where I live, where the Institute of Mental Physics began in 1941 out here. It's the Western Hemisphere's largest and oldest retreat center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we'll get it.
What's it called?
Well, it's called the Institute of Mental Physics, but it also goes by the Joshua Tree Retreat Center. Hi, Lori. Are you taking your breath class from the hospital today?
Why not?
You are such a trooper.
Place to do it.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for joining in. So we're going to go, I'm going to give you just a little bit of the history of where the teachings come from and all of that. And then I'll demonstrate the breath work, and then we'll practice each one of them as we go along. And then at 10:45, we'll get off, take a 15-minute break. If you need to go at that time, you can. But if you want to get back on at 11 and do a half-hour straight through practice with the voice of the master teacher, we do that every Wednesday at 11. So you can, it might be too much for you, the hour and 45 minutes, or you might feel energized and inspired to hop on. Either way, we're here every Wednesday at 11 just to practice. Once you get down the mechanics of the breath work. And Mindy, is there anything that you would like to share from your last couple years of doing these?
I love the breath work. It has changed my life, honestly. Like, the practice it just helps energy move, and I feel so much better every time I do the practice. There's a saying, it says it ignites the fire within fires inside you. So that very much speaks to me of just awakening my soul. And it feels so good.
Thank you, Mindy. Yeah. Well, my name is Jody Curtis. For those of you who don't know me, I have been practicing the science of mental physics, breath work, and spiritual lessons since I found it in 2009. And I had come out of having stage 4 blood cancer. I went through heavy duty chemo. I went through a really, really low point in my life health-wise. and the doctor said I would not be able to have children. And I was really just like going through the Western hospital process and all of that. I mean, my body turned gray. I lost my toenails, turned black. I was just depleted. And around the same time, my dad died of COPD, not being able to breathe. And I was guided out here to the desert in the middle of nowhere to work at this place called the Institute of Mental Physics. I didn't even know what it was. I was just drawn here and bought a house sight unseen to move from LA after 21 years to the middle of the Mojave Desert to figure out what this thing was called mental physics. I began working at the Institute, just helping book spiritual retreats and different things like that. At the same time, I began uncovering all these amazing teachings from that were stored in the attic for like a lot of years. There was really not that much going on at the time when I got there, but in its heyday, there was, 300,000 students and reverends, and it was just a really happening place. And in other countries, it still is being practiced in India. There's a huge following, and they call it Brahma Vidya, which means the science of the knowledge of the divine. So mental physics there's a lot of, there's the 8 key breaths, which we're going to learn and practice today. That's the core breath work of the course that you can go on and practice. And if that's all you ever did, it would change your life immensely. But there are other teachings that go on after that. There's 26 weekly lessons called the Initiate Group Course that are spiritual lessons that go along with the breath work. Then there's another 123 lessons after that called the Inner Chamber. And then there is the 2 or 3 year preceptor teacher training course. So I went all the way through that and became a reverend of the teachings, and then mainly have just been sharing the bulk of the breath work and everything. But there are, if you're called to this, there's a lot of other teachings. These go back thousands of years, passed down from master to student in the monasteries of Tibet. And after we get centered in a meditative state, I'll go a little bit more into the history of it and everything like that. And then I'll give you some resources at the end if you are called to research more. So I'm going to be recording this. I'm going to set it on, let me do that right now. I'll set it on speaker view. So that means it'll just record mainly my video that I'm going to use, chop it up for some different things in the future. If you ask a question or have a comment or something, it'll show you on the screen. But if you would prefer not to ever have that be out there, you can just let me know. It's no problem. And go ahead and use the chat if you need to. We'll have to be muted during the breath work because it makes a lot of noise when we're all breathing. But please feel free to just unmute if you have any questions or type in the chat, and then I'll just check that periodically. Okay. Anybody have anything that you'd like to say before we get into it here? Any questions, comments?
Just have a question. Will we get a copy of the the recording replay or no?
Sure, I can give you a copy of the recording.
Thank you. Because I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I can be here the whole time. That's why I want to make sure I catch up. Thank
Sure,
you.
I can actually put a copy of the recording in the Eventbrite page, and also I'll put it in the places that you guys signed up for the course, so you'll be able to find it, or you can just email me and I'll make sure you get a copy.
So can you email it to the people who registered?
Sure.
We have that information already. Thank you.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. So before we get into everything, let's just get ourselves centered and present in this moment, and giving ourselves permission to just relax and open our mind and heart to an inner adventure, something brand new and unique that you might not have experienced before. The science of mental physics is not a religion. It is a multi-denominational philosophy of thought It is the bridging of science and spirituality. And as I mentioned, it's been passed down for thousands of years. So what Ding LeMay, the teacher, says that brought the teachings to the West is that it helps unlock the holy books of the world. So whatever your religion, this can help take you deeper inside yourself and deeper inside your own understanding of what you believe. So I teach them exactly the way they were taught to me, because I feel that it's very important, considering they're thousands of years old, passed down, you know, exactly the way that they were taught. So the language is from the 1920s. But you know, it's not very modern at times, but it's still incredibly effective. And one last thing, welcome, Tracy. The science of mental physics is a science of feeling. And as I mentioned, it's in Brahma Vidya in India, it's the science of the knowledge of the divine. So as we are doing the breath work, you just want to pay attention inside yourself. Each of these breaths that we do with the affirmations that follow, just feel inside yourself what each of these breaths are doing, how they're activating your cells and mixing and melding within your body. Okay. Well, I don't want to talk too much before we get going into the silence. So let's sit and begin to get centered and take some deep breaths in. For the breath work in mental physics, we'll be breathing all the way down. We'll be breathing through the nose, because when you breathe through the nose, there's actually filters in your brain that sorts everything and brings it where it needs to go. In the teachings of mental physics, Edwin Ding LeMay says that mouth breathers are like on their way to death, basically, is how he says it, because there's no filters and everything when you're gulping air through your mouth. So I know there are cases where people's sinuses are blocked and things like that, but you can actually improve the passage of air and improve your sinus cavities and everything as you go on with the breath work. So just start where you are and you'll see improvements as time goes on. So we'll be breathing in through the nose, down into the belly, then into the middle chest, upper chest, and throat. Okay. So for now, just get quiet and centered inside yourself. Knowing that there's nowhere you need to go right now, nothing you need to do except just be present in your body, in your mind, in your awareness, in your heart. Setting your own intention for the class today. What do you hope to gain from the class? Is there something that you hope to release today? Mental physics teaches that whatever the creator is, we are in human form. It's like an apple tree expresses as God in the form of an apple tree, or a dog expresses as the creator in dog form. We are the creator in human form, living in a world of pure potential. So set your intention for a breakthrough today. And all the prayers and things I'm going to say are from the teachings from the 1920s. So as I mentioned, the languaging is a little bit different. almighty and eternal fount of wisdom, grant us knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, that we may speak here words of truth, love, and hope. We ask for light from the higher spheres. And may our guides guard and control our mind and tongue, so that nothing but the truth may here be given. And that the good seed sown may find fertile spots to live and grow. And that those who are now in darkness and obscurity, may they be brought forth into the radiant sunshine and the joyous glory of the unfoldment of true spiritual goodness. Take a big deep breath in down to the belly. And exhale with a sigh, letting everything go. Anything that's bothering you, weighing you down, just let it go. Mindy, do you want to unmute yourself and say a little prayer to give gratitude for the masters that came before? Don't worry, I'm not going to call on the rest of you. Mindy's been doing this.
I did this with Jody for a year and a half now, every day. It's amazing. All right. Welcome, welcome all that are here with us. We welcome everyone to Mental Physics in this beautiful practice. We give thanks for all the Ascended Masters to make this possible for today. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks. Open our minds to learn more, to feel the truth within our beings, to feel the amazingness that we are, to feel our divinity, to feel the amazing truth that is all that has been passed down. Open our minds to let us be receptive to this amazing teachings. Let us hear the words, let us feel the words, let us embody the words, let us have an amazing adventure. Bless this time together, all that are here on this call and all of those that are watching. Lord, we just come in this presence with each other, and we just give such thanks and give thanks and give thanks. Thank you for all the Ascended Masters. Come in. Fill us with your light, fill us with your wisdom. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks.
And so it is. Amen. Thanks, Mind. And now we imagine a great wall of golden light about us. Nothing can penetrate or pierce this light, as it holds us protectingly in its own essence. Above us, the higher ones in the great hierarchy of universal wisdom, holding over us a gossamer substance which forms a panoply under which we all rest together in the great peace. Within the circle there is wisdom, below the circle there is love. God is love. Now, the first breath we're going to learn is the harmonic or balancing breath. This breath balances both hemispheres of your brain, and it's very common alternate nostril breathing in many of the yoga traditions. And in mental physics, we teach that the right nostril is the positive solar current, and the left is the negative lunar current. So the solar energy is heating, and the nervous system is positive energy. And when I say positive and negative in mental physics, it's not like good or bad. It's like the poles of a battery. Like we are electromagnetic chemical beings. We can charge up our cells with prana, which is kind of like it's kind of like soul food, source energy. And it exists in the oxygen, but it is not the oxygen. But when we breathe in, if we intend, and during this breath work, just open your mind to intending that every breath you're getting, you are charging every cell of your being with this life-giving energy. I'm going to show you this here. So this is the harmonic or balancing breath. So as you're breathing in through the right nostril, the solar heating energy, the positive energy, this is activating your nervous system. And as you're breathing in through the left nostril, it is your circulatory system. So our nostrils change throughout the day, and they should change every hour or two if a person is healthy. And I'm sure all of us have had that experience where one nostril is just clogged and the other one's like totally open. So if you're getting too much air in your left nostril, then you could tend to be a little lethargic because of your circulatory system. And if you're getting too much air in your right nostril, your nervous system could be a little, amped up. So the idea with this breath is just to balance the hemispheres. I used to do this driving in Los Angeles traffic just with one hand, and it helped so much just to stay calm. This breath is to be done before the 8 key breaths and at any time you need stress relief or just to activate your system. So the count in mental physics is inhaling for 4, hold for 16, and exhaling for 8 from the opposite nostril. So let's place our right thumb on our right nostril, inhale for the count of 4, hold 16, unplug the right, exhale for 8, and again for 4, inhaling. If you want, you could hold with both thumbs. The thumbs correspond to the lung meridian. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Unplug the left, exhale for 8. And one more round. Inhaling 4. Hold 16. Exhale for 8. Inhale 4. Hold 16. And exhale. You might want to blow your nose before we really get into it, because the next breath is. Just take a minute and blow your nose. I just need to send someone the passcode. Hang on one second. Okay, so before we get really into the 8 key breaths, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Edwin J. Dingle, who was the Englishman who brought the teachings to the West. They in the monasteries of Tibet renamed him Ding Lamay, which is very similar to his Edwin Dingle name, but it actually means great man. And these sacred teachings he received from his spiritual masters in the Orient. And the breathwork techniques, as I mentioned, they balance your body, mind, and spirit, revitalizing every cell. It activates your entire endocrine system. So I think that's probably why I was able to go on and have a baby after going through this heavy duty chemo that really rocked my body, because I was able to get all of my endocrine, my hormonal systems pretty much back in balance by doing these breaths. So I'm just, because we have a little amount of time and there's so much information. I'm just giving you the basics. And if anybody needs anything else after the class that they're interested in, just let me know. So it's kind of like a super yoga. That's what he called it. He called it a super yoga of the West. And while they are physical breathings, in mental physics, the human body is regarded as a spiritual instrument. It is the temple of the living God. And so the student is strongly urged to enter upon his or her breathing practice with a deep, reverential attitude of mind. So I'll go over this each breath that I show you, but there's a few pointers. One is before each of the breaths, we say, I thank thee, Lord, for the breath of my life. That's how Ding Lamay taught it, but you say it however it works for you. I thank you, God, for my beautiful breath. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, creative spirit. You know, whatever you call the source that gives us life. It's the idea is to take that brief moment to give thanks for that breath. I am going to play a little 2-minute video about the story of Edwin Dingle and his journey through China into Tibet in the 1920s, where he was given this ancient knowledge regarding the spiritual advancement, breath, prana, and really transmutation of energy is what it is. Energy never dies, it just changes form. So it's teaching us to learn to take, you know, negative energy and transmute that into something that can serve us and serve every cell of our being and help us be vibrant and live long and healthy and happy lives. Give me 1 second. I hear some more people coming in. I just want to. Hi, Vienna. Hi, Matt. Welcome. If you, I don't know when you guys came in, but I'll have the recording at the end so you guys can see it from the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to just share my screen and play a little video here. 1 second to pull that up. Okay. Are you guys able to see this? Yeah. Can hear it?
Edwin John Dingle, known as Ding Lamay to over 220,000 students of the science of mental physics, was born in England in 1881. He became a journalist and established a publishing empire in Hong Kong and Shanghai. On a mapping expedition across China for Sun Yat-sen in the early 1900s, he walked across China and into Tibet. In his quest for spiritual knowledge, he became one of the first Westerners to enter Tibet and study in a Tibetan monastery, where he was recognized as a highly evolved soul. Upon his return to the West, he began sharing the teachings and practices he had learned in Tibet, first in New York and later in Los Angeles, California, where he began the Institute of Mental Physics in 1927. In 1941, the Mental Physics Spiritual Teaching and Retreat Center was dedicated in Yucca Valley, now Joshua Tree. Frank Lloyd Wright designed Dr. Dingle's home and the Caravansary, a 700-foot-long structure with motel-style rooms and a meeting hall. His son Lloyd Wright completed the buildings. Ding Lamay passed from this life in 1972.
Okay. Oops. This the screen sharing thing is new to me, so sorry. Okay. So he was a member of the Royal Geographical Society. He made all the maps for China back in his day. He was a war photographer. He's written tons of books. He wrote My Life in Tibet about his journey across China into Tibet. Here is the initiate group course that I was telling you about, which is also online. And just tons of pamphlets. He wrote all these pamphlets on your eyes, your ears, supply, how to draw in supply. Actually, I made that into a PDF I'm gonna give to you guys. I'll put all this stuff in the chat at the very end, some resources for you to look at. So before we get going with the 8 key breaths, just remember the thought. I'll say first the thought, and we'll say to ourselves, thank you. I thank you, Lord, for the breath of my life. And then there's also the secret switch. The secret switch is something that I have found in a lot of ancient teachings, which is simply placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth. There is a maxilla bone up there that moves. And when you are breathing with your tongue on the roof of your mouth, it actually sends signals to your nervous system to relax. So it's helpful. I found after years of doing these breaths, there are certain things that, like when I'm stressed, my body will just automatically do these little things. So it says, if you place your tongue tip onto the roof of your mouth, you're touching your maxilla, and like all cranial bones, this bone breathes. It seesaws in the tidal movement of the cranial sacral rhythm. The responsiveness of the maxilla is governed by the facial muscles in the tongue. So in yogic practice, we aim to lift and spread the roof of the mouth, and this telegraphs a signal of release to the respiratory diaphragm. So basically what I just said, it relaxes your body. So I'll say, pull that secret switch. And that is just placing your tongue on the roof of your mouth when you're inhaling through your nose. Again, we talked about how to breathe deep down into breathing through your nose. The entire time we're breathing through our nose, all the way deep into the belly, chest, upper chest. You will hear me or Ding LeMay say big sniff at the top. So that is filling your entire lung cavity with as much air as you can possibly get in there. So big sniff. And then at the end, you'll hear myself or Ding LeMay say, lock it up. And that just means swallow. That is a signal to your body that all this breath that you've just breathed in, you're going to swallow and just lock it into your system. This is a lot of oxygen coming in, maybe more than you're used to getting. So I'm just asking you guys to manage your own self. If you're feeling lightheaded, open your eyes. If you're still feeling lightheaded, just sit down or whatever you need to do or just take a breath, whatever you need to do. There are some that still get me after 13 years. I feel like I'm going to pass out. Some days are easier than others, right, Mindy, doing the breath work? Some days the experience is incredibly profound, and sometimes the mind goes crazy. So it just depends on your day. I think that's it. The first breath we're going to do, the memory developing breath, it's called, and it is, we always joke in our class that because you're getting copious amounts of oxygen, that of course it's going to help with your memory, but it's really to help activate your memory of who you are and why you came to the planet, what your purpose is on the planet. And with all of the 8 key breaths, it's a systematic unfoldment to enlightenment, to actually having more light in your life, in your body, in your mind, in your being. And so the memory developing breath, the first breath, is it's the most involved. So I always say, don't let this one scare you, because this is the most involved of all of them. And this one will actually pull up and out anything that is no longer serving you. That the point of this is to get all the gunk up and out of your body and out of your cells and out anything that isn't serving you. So it is possible that you might feel emotional. You might have some sadness arise. You might have giddiness come up. And this might even last for the, the next week or two. You might experience things arising. So it's okay. Just let it be okay. Whatever comes up, it's needing to get up and out of your system. And then from that point on, each of the breaths is bringing in the light, so it's getting anything out of you that's no longer serving you. Because in mental physics, we look at ourselves as a magnet. And so we are a magnet in the universe for our thoughts. Our thoughts create what we eat, which creates our cellular structure. And so he talks awful lot about using the creative word wisely in this practice, being very careful about what you're saying. And so, and allowing all this stuff that isn't serving you to be released, so that you can just raise your vibration, and then your magnet is more clean and clear. So the circumstances of life that are coming to you are just more fun and greater health and happiness and wellness in all ways. Okay, sorry for talking so much. The memory developing breath. This one, the best way to describe it, the way I always describe it, is like the old-fashioned water pumps, those old silver water pumps where you're pumping it, you're pumping it, you're pumping it. Then as soon as you stop, that water releases to start the flow. I hope you all know what I'm talking about. This is what we're doing with our body in this breath. So this is the only breath that's done sitting. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So every breath in mental physics, the inhale, as I mentioned, is with the secret switch, inhaling through the nose. And then the exhale is like a CH sound. It's like a forceful exhalation. And you're squeezing all the air out of your lower belly. So then naturally your body's ready to take in another breath. So with the memory developing breath, it looks like this. And we're going to do 3 sets of 14. And I'll count, so I'll let you know. And then I'll say rest after the first set of 14, just rest. And then at that point, you want to just observe. Just be very aware inside your being. What is happening with this breath work? Sometimes you'll get like tingly lips, or your head will start to tingle, or your hands or your feet, they might get hot or cold. Just observe. And then we'll go into 2 more sets of 14 and a final triumphant 7. The memory developing breath ignites the 49 fires of the body. And I can send you more information about that if you're interested. So to begin, we have our palms facing downward. And after the end of each breath, then we will turn our palms upward and listen to an affirmation. So your mind and body will be open, and then you will hear an affirmation, positive affirmations about different things after each breath. So for the memory developing breath, we have our palms facing downward. We're pulling that secret switch. And now the thought. I thank thee, Lord, for the breath of my life. Really feel that. Now all together we exhale. Bringing our head down, and now up, up. One more. Exhaling all that air out and just watching, observing, feeling after. Making sure there's no tension in the body. If you feel any tension, just send light to that area and relax. Relax your body. And now 2 more 7s all together. We exhale, bringing our head down and up. One more. Squeezing all the air out. Taking a little breath and relaxing right down. Just feeling. Feeling upward toward the top of your head. And now 2 more 7s. We exhale. And up. One more. And now for our last and final triumphant 7, giving it your very best. Together we exhale. And up. Last one. Exhaling all your air out, completely squeezing it out. Then a little breath in, turning your palms upward on your knees as your eyes are closed for the affirmation. And now I imagine that great light at the top of my head. The top of my head is heavy and relaxed. The forehead is heavy. The eyes are relaxed. The muscles of the face are withdrawn. The jaw gently drops, no pressure on the teeth. My arms and hands are very heavy. But oh, how happy I feel. I feel happy all over, particularly in my beautiful face. My face is bathed in my smiles. My whole body is bathed in the blushes of my smiles. I feel a gentle pressure from within, outward. And that gentle pressure is taking away any little lines of fear or care, worry, disappointment, anything negative. I feel happy all over. And now I bring that light down. My chest is relaxed. The abdomen falls down. And the light comes down, down, down to the tips of my toes. And now I imagine that great light at the back of my neck. I'm looking down over my beautiful spine. And it seems that if I'm looking at a wonderful waterfall, with the sunshine playing on it, so that I see a countless number of tiny specks of iridescent light, light, light. And I know my whole body to be full of light. If thine eye is single, the single eye, the eternal eye, the eye of my imagination, if thine eye be single, my whole body shall be full of light. And I know that every cell in that countless, countless number of cells in my body is a lamp, a light, a torch, bringing to me the light of the divine wisdom within me, within me. The light being in perfect correspondence with the flame in perfect correspondence with the fire that is in the center of centers of centers of my inmost being. The fire of divine love within me. And so, feeling heavy, imagining that I'm looking upward to the top of my head, giving thanks. Imagining a great golden shower of light going out in all directions. Slowly, I take a little breath and a long, deep, sweeping sigh. I lock it up. I swallow. I make it my own. As I take another little breath and a quick sigh. And I wake up gently. Does anyone have any questions about that breath before we move on? You can just unmute yourself if you do.
How many was the first, how many did we do? 14?
Yes, 3 sets of 14, and then what he calls the final triumphant 7.
I just like to note that it's more important to do them as effectively as possible. Just like when you're exercising, that you want it to be done properly is more important than the correct number. That you're doing it really intentfully. Don't hurt your neck when you're doing it. And just do I just follow along with Jody is kind of how I do it is I really work on my posture and doing it correctly. And I just listen when she says, and that's the last one. And don't make too much of a fuss over the 49, because you usually do 49, even if you're not counting and you just follow along with what Jody's doing. Just focus on the correct movement of your head when you're inhaling and exhaling.
Yeah, thank you. Because I had trouble with the leaning in the back. I can't do that. It hurt. So I only went a little bit and just kept up as best I could. Yeah.
Always listen to your body. It should never hurt. If it's too much, just modify it for what you need so it doesn't hurt.
Also, Lori, you just reminding me of this story when I first started teaching. I mean, I was a brand new teacher and I was still learning. I was just in the advanced course, but I was also teaching a breathwork class. And there was this man that came in, and this is how he came into my class with his cane like this. And he couldn't stand up and he couldn't lift his head up. And so he said to me when we were doing that breath, what should I do? And because I can't move my head at all. And we were in the advanced course part where we were learning how to do the breath work only in our mind, and the body would actually respond accordingly. So I said to this man confidently, even though inside myself, I was like, I hope this works. I said, you just do it, just do it in your mind and just go along with it. So he just sat there week after week doing it in his mind. And week after week, I saw him week after week coming taller, taller, taller. Eventually came in without his cane. And then I saw him at the thrift store a few years ago, and he was totally upright walking, and he attributes it to the breath work. So there are a lot of cases of spontaneous healings and, different types of things. I had a friend who had a heart issue that she said the breath work helped a lot with. So it's interesting. The other thing is, as you do these, because they're so deep and impactful, and you're getting, most people do not know how to properly breathe. So when we learn in the soul activation and stuff, Gerald and Allison teach all the time about change your breath, change your state. And it's so true. So when you're doing all this, Mindy and I have found a lot of different things opening up for us. Almost could be considered like psychic ability type stuff, but it's actually just extra senses that we all have the ability to. It's just like working a muscle. We all have the ability to activate these. I like to call them superpowers within ourselves, and they all manifest differently, but just, it is such an exciting inner adventure as you get going on doing these breaths. It just opens up a lot of different doorways. And that's why I think he says it helps you understand the holy books of the world, because you actually get access to all knowledge. When you're really practicing this work, and you're able to access that kind of stuff. So anything else, Vienna?
I have a
Julia,
question.
I've got a bit of a cold right now, some congestion, and when I tamed it down to just small breaths, I was able to not go into a coughing fit. But any advice regarding coughing, just go ahead and do it in your mind.
Yeah.
Do the full one.
I'm not sure about the coughing. It is tricky to do when your nostrils are clogged. Mindy and I both were sick a couple weeks ago for a couple days with that, and then it's hard to do it. The breath, the memory developing breath is the most involved. So from here on out, it's just going to be one breath in and then holding it and doing different exercises. So yeah, it's probably going to exacerbate whatever needs to get up and out. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
I will be better. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here.
So Jody, can I
have a
ask you a question?
I have
Sure.
a question too, Jody.
Okay. Okay, Anna?
So I just wanted to clarify. We put the tip of our tongue to the roof the whole time, or just when the head goes down? I wasn't too clear about that part.
Well, anytime you're inhaling, so if you kind of want to get in the habit of your tongue as you're inhaling, any of the breath work as the inhale is coming in, just try to make it a habit. Just get that tongue up there.
And it stays there the whole time, even when I exhale as well?
When you exhale, it's a little bit different. It's hard to keep it there, because if you're exhaling forcefully through the mouth, like for me, it's like my tongue kind of flops a bit down and the air is pushed out through the mouth that way. It just, so I think it's almost impossible to keep your tongue up there on the exhale.
Okay, that's what I want to clarify. That's what happened to me as well. On the inhale, I could do it head going back, but on the coming forward, it got loose. So that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Jade?
Yeah, so since I might be trying to practice this without you. I have a question again about the counting. How do you count to 14? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, or is it?
It's each breath. So it's like 1,
Okay.
like that, 2. Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we'll move to the second breath, which is the revitalizing breath. And from here on out, all the postures are done standing, and they're all very similar. And so, so you can see my feet. So from here on out, your feet, your heels are touching. This creates the connection to the terrestrial magnetism. And it also creates as if we were in a sevenfold position. It activates the electromagnetic energy. So the heels are always touching. The knees are snapped back. Your buttocks are as tight as you can make them. And your arms look like this. Your fingers, so shoulders are back and down. Fingertips are pulling downward toward the floor. At the same time, you're feeling an upward sensation from the top of your head. So it's so funny. I've noticed after 13 years of doing this, my body gets so tight when I do this, like it's just snaps into position. And then when I am done, I have to really try hard to like loosen it up and relax myself. So as important as the tight positioning, so you're like a lightning rod, your spine is totally straight, everything is straight and strong. And as important as the positioning is for this, it's equally important on the exhale to maintain the position. So through the exhale, you maintain the strength. And then equally important to relax completely on the other side of the breath. So if you have to, give a little shake or whatever you need to do to signal to your body to let go of that tension so that prana can move through your body. Okay, so the revitalizing breath is really simple. It's just a deep inhale, like I mentioned, belly. It's fine to let your belly come all the way out. And then big sniff, and then we're just holding it until I say to release. Okay, here we go. Position, everything tight. First, the thought, I thank thee, Lord, for the breath of my life. Now pulling that secret switch, remembering the secret switch. Together we exhale to make room. Squeezing it all out. And now inhaling all the way deep into the belly, all the way up into the chest, all the way to the top. Big sniff. And hold it. Hold it. I am the master of my body. I am the master of my body. And now no dropping of your head or your neck. You're going to keep that tension and exhale. And now relaxing right down, closing your eyes and feeling into yourself for the affirmation. The success of the breath depends entirely upon your ability to relax. So relaxing completely, coming right down. We think of, we feel for the hidden meaning, the inner meaning of these sublimely simple words. I am whole. Nothing is lacking. Nothing can be added. I am whole. I am perfect. Perfect as the Father which is in heaven within me is perfect. I am perfect. I am strong. Strong. Strength in action. I am powerful, full of power. Every single cell in my body is a power plant working for me. I am powerful, full of power. I am loving, loving. I am the substance of the universe in action. I am love, moving. I am loving. I am harmonious, in harmony, balance, poise, equilibrium. I am in harmony with the laws of this universe, the eternal, enduring, imitable, everlasting law of the universe. I am harmonious. I am rich, rich. I draw my supply from the source of all supply. I am rich. I am young, young. I am life's first reflection. I am youth. And I imagine innumerable streams of living light coursing downward in my body. I am young. I am happy. I'm happy. I look happy. I feel happy. I am the force that propels the fluids of life. If I cannot feel happy, I deliberately laugh and see the changed emotional effect within me. I am happy. And so looking upward to the top of my head, feeling happy, giving thanks, imagining a great golden shower of light going out in all directions. Slowly, I take a little breath and a long, deep, sweeping sigh. And now I take another little breath and I wake up quietly. Hi, Linda Black. Nice to see you. Hi, I'm gonna, just since you just got on, I'm gonna give you a couple pointers for the breath work. We're just working through it, but there's the secret switch, which is placing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And the thought, I'll say before each of the breaths, first the thought, which is just giving thanks for the breath of our life. In mental physics, we say, I thank thee, Lord, for the breath of my life, but you can say it however you want, whatever resonates with you. Okay, and if anybody has, after each of these breaths, if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute or type in the chat.
So Jody, I have a question.
Sure.
This is beautiful. So like if I'm practicing this on my own, I understand the prayer right before the breath, but how you're doing the affirmations after the breath cycle, is that something that is supposed to be done as well? And those exact affirmations, or are you just doing that because of the workshop?
Well, yes, they go with the breaths, and you can make the affirmations apply to however you want. I just teach them this way because this is what Ding LeMay taught. So in order to preserve, the ancient teachings, I teach them this way, but he says in a lot of his audios to change them to suit you. But yes, there should be affirmations done after each of the breath work. It just makes it more powerful, But if
Beautiful.
I have a lot of videos on YouTube that are, and after this, I don't know, like I mentioned in the beginning, you guys might want to get off at 10:45, but if you don't, at 11, if you want to come back on at 11, we're going to do a half-hour practice straight through the breaths, all 8 key breaths, with Ding LeMay leading it. And so that's always really wonderful. So he guides us through, and he gives the affirmations as well. So there are a lot of videos on there if you just wanted to get on and go through a breathwork practice on your own with a video. Excuse me.
You're going to be on the same Zoom link? You'll be on the same exact Zoom link to do that?
No, you know what? I'll post all the links in the chat before we go.
Okay. And if I have to leave early, you said you'll send out this information in an email to us?
Yes, I will. I'll find a way to get you the information for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have a question before we get into the third breath? Okay. So this one is called the inspirational breath. And again, the positioning is the same, but what we're going to do with our arms is different. So everything is tight. And what we're doing is, as we're inhaling on the inspirational breath, we're raising our arms slowly, slowly like this, so that the inhale at the top culminates with the hands coming together in a triangle. So it's the right thumb under the left. So as you're breathing in, it's big sniff as you come up here, triangle. And then this, Ding LeMay talked about the triangle of manifestation. So usually I take a split second pause here to say success to mental physics, success to whatever endeavor I'm working on in the moment. And then backs of the hands together. And the exhale is done in 4 parts. Like that. And then again, relaxing right down for the affirmation. Okay, so here we go, heels touching.
Jody, yeah, I was gonna say, Linda didn't get with the feet, how the feet go.
Okay, Lori, the feet from every, oh yeah, it's so tricky to get my whole body in here. The feet from here on out are always touching, except for the last breath. Yeah, so the heels are touching. Pulling downward on the fingertips like we do for all of the breaths, thinking upward to the top of our head. So it's this sensation of this, like kind of being the conduit between heaven and earth sort of thing. Thinking upward and grounding downward. Okay. And so when we exhale completely and we squeeze all the old air out, just like in any yoga practice, that makes space for a new breath to come in. Okay. Here we go. Position. The head and neck is always loose. And first the thought, I thank thee, Lord, for the breath of my life. Now all together we exhale. Breathing in slowly, raising our arms, not too fast, all the way in, all the way up, right thumb under the left. Backs of the hands together. Exhale in 4 parts. And now relaxing right down, closing your eyes, feeling into the affirmation. Remembering that the science of mental physics is a science of feeling. It's a science of the soul. So in this breath, we feel into the depths of our own being to gain the greatest benefit. And now relaxing entirely, coming right down. The body is heavy and you are happy. You are relaxed. I thank thee, Lord, for my body, the temple of the living God, the temple of the God that lives within me, that is alive within me, my body, the transcendentally beautiful, the infinitely intricate, but the most gloriously accurate instrument in this entire universe. My body, the temple of the living God, the temple of the God that lives within me, within me. I stand in reverence. I stand in adoration. I stand in veneration at the wisdom pent up in the very substance of my body. And I pledge myself, I vow that from this moment forward, nothing that I shall eat or drink, nothing that I shall do or say or think shall injure or abuse this temple of the living God, my body. And so feeling happy, looking upward to the top of my head, giving thanks, imagining that great golden shower of light going out in all directions, the secret of the golden flower. And slowly, tenderly, gently, reverently, I take a little breath and a long, deep, sweeping sigh. I lock it up, I swallow, I make it my own. Very good. You guys are doing awesome. Any questions about the inspirational breath? Okay. Okay, well, we'll move on to number 4, the perfection breath. This one, same position, heels touching. Body is, as he says, the body is pulled up to its full stature. So your spine is as straight as you can make it, but don't put tension in your neck. Everything is pulling down. And then for the perfection breath, this is the position with our arms out in front of us. And then once we breathe in and we're holding our breath, we're going to do 3 swings to make our body into the shape of a cross. Swing number 1, swing number 2, swing number 3. And the body is totally tight when you're doing this. Arms at the sides pulling downward again on the fingertips, exhaling, and then relaxing right down for the affirmation. Okay, so for the perfection breath, position, we get ready. First, the thought, I thank thee, Lord, for the breath of my life. Now all together we exhale. Breathing in all the way into the belly, all the way into the chest, all the way up, big sniff. Swing number 1, nice and controlled. Swing number 2. Swing number 3. Arms at the sides. We exhale. Squeezing it all out. And now relaxing right down, closing your eyes, tuning inside yourself. Almighty and eternal fount of wisdom, grant us knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, that we may speak here words of truth, love, and hope. We ask for light from the higher spheres, and may our guides guard and control our mind and tongue so that nothing but the truth may here be given, and that the good seeds sown may find fertile spots to live and grow. And those who are now in darkness and obscurity, may they be brought forth into the radiant sunshine and the joyous glory of the unfoldment of true spiritual goodness. And now relaxing entirely, coming right down, relaxing entirely. As I prepare myself to think the greatest thought I shall ever be able to think. Whatever the creator is, I am. Differentiated from all the other life forms in this universe, I am the creator in human form. The creator is right here, right in the heart of me, right in the mind of me, right in the being of me, right in the substance of me. Reveal thyself, O Lord of my life, Lord of the eternal. You who are the same yesterday, today, tomorrow, forever. Reveal thyself. I wait. I'm listening. I am still. I watch within me. And now I will to see the Creator at work within the temple. I will to see the Creator at work within my body temple. And so feeling